Hey, it's Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project. We're going to do a teardown and a critique of the Wirecutter. So the Wirecutter is a very huge affiliate site. They do a lot through Amazon and actually several other affiliate programs, and we're just going to go through a lot of the details. I'm actually going to go through some critical stats, which you can actually see displayed right now. We're going to take a look on the site. We're going to look at their about page, and we're going to look at 3 different review pages. I'm going to tear them down. I'll let you know what I like and what I don't like. And I mean, I can tell you off the bat, the Wirecutter is sort of one of the best in class as far as an affiliate site. And Amazon affiliate sites are kind of what I'm into on Niche Site Project. So I can tell you that the Wirecutter, they're going to be doing a pretty good job. In fact, I think it's been about 6 months or some time at this point. But the Wirecutter and the Sweet Home, the partner site, those 2 sites were sold to the New York Times, which I think we'll talk about that in a second. But they were sold for something like $30 million or something. Huge, huge sale. So let's get into the details here. And as I mentioned, we're going to go through 3 different reviews on their site so we can really get into the weeds. If you haven't seen the page that I'm displaying now, it's over on Niche Site Project, and you should be able to find it pretty quickly if you look for Amazon affiliate site examples. So what I'm showing you here are some data that I got from various sites. So some of them are estimates, but we'll get into the details. So first off, the site was founded back in September of 2011, so it's been around for a while. There are over 500,000 keywords ranking in the top 100, which is a huge amount. I don't think my sites even have that many words total on them. So that's a lot of content, and that's a lot of keywords that are ranking. The number of estimated visitors per month varies greatly. So there's 2 different sources that I went to. One's SEMrush and one is SimilarWeb. And in a lot of cases, the sites don't agree. So SEMrush says about 1 million, and then SimilarWeb says about 10 million. Either way, that's a lot of traffic, and it's probably somewhere in the middle. I'm pretty sure both are wrong. The graph that I'm showing here is from SEMrush, and you can sort of see, from the very beginning, they got a trickle of traffic. I mean, it looks like the scale is really small, but I mean, that's actually probably tens of thousands of visitors. And each one of these little red segments on the graph, those are Google updates. And you can see, there have been some ups and downs, but it doesn't look like, except for maybe this one, it doesn't look like the Wirecutter was hit in any significant way. There have been some spikes and some ups and downs, but if you smooth this graph out, it's on an upward trend. Although, I mean, it's kind of going down there, but things are good. Things are good. Their domain authority is, that's a Moz metric, is 69. Trustful is 37, at least at the time the data was gathered. They have they have about 1,250 index pages. People spend over a minute and a half on the site. In this data, these last 3 metrics are from SimilarWeb, so these are purely estimates, and this is not real actual data from the Wirecutter. SimilarWeb says most viewers look at 1.75 pages, and the bounce rate is like 64%, but who knows? Quick note, the site was originally founded by Brian Lam, who was the former editorial director at Gizmodo. So he's been around. He knows media, and he was a director, so conceivably had a team. He knew how to build a team, and that's what he did when he founded this site. So let's go over to the Wirecutter, and I'm just on the home page here. I'll point out a couple things on home pages. A lot of people do ask about what they should have on their Amazon affiliate home pages, and I mostly like this. We'll start at the very top, and they have an AdSense banner up here. That's the only thing I'm not a huge fan of. So I know why the Wirecutter puts their AdSense up here is because they get so much traffic that they can actually make money doing it. But in most cases, for my sites and for my student sites, I advise them to pull out banner ads like this, you want to have a focus on the content. You want to have your focus on the products that the people are looking at. So unless you have a pretty high amount of traffic, or if you're, you know, an expert in AdSense and savvy about ad networks, then I would otherwise, remove this. As we, move down the page, they have a simple banner here. It looks like a schematic play right here. So the Wirecutter, it all fits together. I have a computer engineering background, so I took some electrical engineering classes back in the day, so I expect that's what this little symbol is, but otherwise it's simple. They allow you to get to a category pretty quickly, and it's in a menu, so it doesn't take up a bunch of space. A lot of themes may have each one of their categories listed up top, and you obviously wouldn't want to have these, like 20 categories listed, and they have a search box. So if you like the Wirecutter, you can just, type in a thing that you're looking for. As we move down, they have a small about snippet where you can check out their partner site, the Sweet Home. You can go to the New York Times company website, and then you can see what they do. This is actually the About page, which we'll take a look at in a few moments after we go through this home page here. All right, as we move down, they usually have just one main post at the top that usually it's a recent post, and they publish it up top. If you click on it, obviously it takes you to that full review. The other part is they have, the best deals. So it's hand-picked deals. Sometimes, there's specials on Amazon or other retail sites. So you could click here and get to those deals. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to open that up here to have a quick look, even though it's a slight digression, but you can see they just list out good deals that they've scoured the web for. So if someone is just browsing, then they could go through here, see a small snippet of the review, and then move on to read more of the review or actually purchase it from here. So just wanted to point that out. Some sites do have a deals page, and the Wirecutter is one of these. And they actually allow you to get to it pretty quick. This is obviously a really prominent spot on their site. Next, they have a few of their other recent reviews and posts over on the right sidebar. So that goes all the way down. So those are just recent things that they published. Next, you'll see they sort of go into a category basis here and then list the most recent 5 sections, and they allow you to expand it if you want. If you're really into headphones, you could see all the reviews that they have in that area, and that goes for each of the categories. So that's kind of cool. I mean, this is a custom theme that they have, and it's built around the way they run their site. And one thing that I really like, so it starts broad, right? It starts specific with one post, and then it goes more broad as you go down. So you can see, headphone as a category. You could, go there, or networking, and just scroll down and see it. And they go more and more specific. And if you remember the two other big sites that I reviewed, Baby Gear Lab and Outdoor Gear Lab, go check out those teardowns too if you haven't watched those. But they have a similar layout where it starts really specific at the top, and then it goes down into a slightly more broad category, and then very specific again to individual. And I hope I'm explaining that well, but you can see, you can sort of even go to cars and then individual models here. So they kind of go a little more broad and then specific. Now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm not sure that made 100% sense there, but I'm just going to go with it. So, all right, so that's their homepage, and they allow you to get to a lot of pages on their site, a lot of different reviews, and they do a good job putting new stuff on the sidebar. So the next thing I want to go to is their About page. So I point this out on all the reviews, and for me, it adds credibility. So it's not like every user is going to go check out the About page, but if you do have someone that does check it out, it does add the credibility. So right off the bat, They do keep with the same sort of like layout of the page, so they do have a sidebar over here, which I think it's fine. I guess enough people come to this page where they could get followers on Twitter or on Facebook. They have an email list that they could build, which they don't have pop-ups. They're not focusing on building an email list, but I'm sure they have tens of thousands because of the amount of traffic that they get. Hundreds of thousands probably. Next thing is like they get into the details. So the big takeaway here, we're not going to read everything, but it's a long enough page where they even have a table of contents. So the main thing that the Wirecutter and the Sweet Home do that a lot of other smaller affiliate sites don't do, they actually buy every single one of the products, and then they have experts in that specific product line or niche review them. So these reviews are some of the best, most high quality that you can get, because they have professional writers, journalists in many cases, that are writing these. A few of the reviews that I've run across have published authors, like real books, like print books, not like self-published ebooks, but real print books that you can go to Barnes and Noble and they're on the shelf, they're at your library, that kind of stuff. So as we go through here, you'll see they talk about credibility overall. It's so long, I'm not going to go through everything, but overall this gets you credibility. So they have all these headphones here, right? So they'll test more than 100 headphones, and they got audiophiles, musicians, and sound engineers to do a blind test. Most of the time on affiliate sites, my sites included, we're reading information about the product and then writing about it. So we don't have firsthand knowledge in most cases, and I mean, it's prohibitively expensive to do this sort of stuff. So I mean, you can imagine that they're making good money, and they had a lot of money to start the site. So as we go through here, they just show more things that build credibility and authenticity to the whole site. It makes me really trust them because they're actually testing this stuff. They're testing like phone cases here, and they're in the ocean, right? So like you kind of tend to trust them. So let's move on to a couple of the actual reviews here, and I just arbitrarily chose a few, and I'm just gonna go through them. So as we look here, best Wi-Fi router for most people. So that's a nice headline. It's sort of it's keyword rich. The best Wi-Fi router is what people would be searching for, and then I see for most people, and it's in parentheses. Well, that obviously qualifies just about everyone looking for a router, since it talks about the most people. I will point out, they keep the same sort of layout on the header section here, so they still have their AdSense banner. You can see I was looking for printer cartridges at one point, and then you could also see they have the sidebar with the About page. It's interesting, they don't actually have the hypertext highlighted, or the color doesn't stand out much. It almost looks the same to me as the other text. So I believe that's probably intentional. You'll also notice it's not underlined, like these are underlined. So there's links in here. You could probably see it turn red. And it's interesting that they did that. That tells me they don't really want people to go look over here. They just and click the link. They just want them to read this because it's it's independently chosen editorial picks and blah blah blah. They have the deals over here, and then recent posts. Now, the thing that we actually care about is the review, right? So first off, they have a high quality image of one of the products, and the other part is it's not like a stock image, right? It's not one from the manufacturer. You can see there's a plant back there and a bookshelf, and this is like someone really testing it. Next, you'll see they have the sharing stuff here, which I don't know how effective that really is, It may come into play at some point, but I don't know that those are super effective. I would imagine they tested it though. I imagine they tested it and they know what they're talking about. Next is a nice intro paragraph, and big thing, I do this on all my sites, tell all my students to do it too. So first off, there's a call to action in the first sentence. It's like 10 words in. So there's a call to action, and if you click there, it will take you to the product on Amazon. Next, another observation just from a publishing standpoint, this is a bigger font. So people can read this a little bit more easily, and it sort of gets them started scrolling down. So you see the image, you read this. If you're in a hurry, the person clicks it and gets over to Amazon fast, which is great. They don't even need to read your stuff. They just hop over there. They also list the most recent updates. So this is a really good thing to do also, because it shows you keep it up to date. I don't know of many other sites that actually do that, and especially like small niche sites, I don't see people doing this sort of level of recent updates where they have a catalog and archive of it. So as we go through, they organize it in a way where they have their top pick, and you can click on the image here to get over. That's an affiliate link. You can click on this button. That's an affiliate link too. And this text is also an affiliate link. So they tell you the name of it, they give you a little bit information about why it's a good choice, and then they let you get over to Amazon in 3 different ways. The next part is this is also an affiliate link. So they open this section and they also allow you to get over there via a text link if you just ignore the images or move past them quickly and you're more of a a text-based person, then they let you get over there that way. And they're pretty quick, right? So 2 paragraphs, pretty good summary, and then if we look back here, you can tell that they actually summarized this information here into like 2 sentences, it looks like. So that's cool. Next part is they have another model listed, great for feature focused. So they have this one, it's great performance, low price. And then they have one that's a little bit more premium, has more features, and it's a little bit more expensive. They again have an image link, a button link, and the text link here in the call out section here. And they, of course, they also let you get over to Amazon if you click on this text link just as before. So they open the paragraph where they talk about that particular model, the Netgear R6400. If you read that, you can click on this link and you get over there. Additionally, they sort of summarize a couple things here, and they also give you a way to click over to Amazon via affiliate links here also. And they do have a small section here, and they have a nice, it blends in well. It's an opt-in box here if you just want weekly updates. So you just enter your email address. So that's cool. It's a more out of the way way to have this opt-in box. Next thing is we see here, they have the author listed and sort of list a little bit of his credibility here. And if you were to, you could actually email them here or follow David Murphy on Twitter. So that's cool. The next thing you'll notice is the table of contents. So there's a lot of information here. So I'm not going to go too deep in the interest of time, but you can see the sections that they have. Why should you trust us? So this is where, I believe David was his name. So David Murphy here talks about why he is qualified for doing this. There's a lot of information. So he's over a decade, he's been writing for tech journals and magazines. So he is a trusted person, and he went to Stanford as a business analyst. So I trust this guy. I mean, he sounds pretty smart, and he talks about how he tested this stuff. So I'm in. I believe him. Whatever they tell us to get, I'm probably going to get it, right? They talk about who this is for, how they pick the items, how they tested their specific pick, flaws but not deal breakers, who else likes the pick. And here's a nice thing. So they talk about the router setup and the network maintenance, which, well, shame on me. I didn't even know I was supposed to do network maintenance. The point here is they're adding value, right? So they're adding value, giving us helpful information, and that's really interesting. The other part is they list a couple other alternatives. So if you're into Apple, maybe you only buy Apple products, then they talk about the Airport Extreme, and then Google's On Hub, which I didn't know was a thing. They also talk about the competition. So as I mentioned, we're not going to go into every section, but we'll take a look at some other parts. So let's go to the router setup section. So here they kind of get into the weeds, and they talk about how to maintain a secure and reliable wireless connection. So these are just helpful tips, and you can see they didn't go too crazy with tutorials or screenshots. They kind of walk you through in layman's terms just how to set up and take care of the security portions of the router, physically where to place the router. You know, you don't want to put it like at one end of your house when your office is where you really need it. And the other parts are, you know, I mean, talking about making sure you have a good signal. So we won't go into the weeds here. And as we actually, let's see if I can go back to the table of contents easily. We'll take a look at the airport here. So they do put in a mini review of Apple's product here, and you can see they just have an image, and they go into the details, and they talk about why, you know, it's a good choice or a bad choice depending on what you want. So for a lot of people, they just buy Apple products, and I have an iPhone and an iPad, and I have a MacBook Pro. I like Apple, but I'm not like too hung up on like certain items. I mean, if there are other items that work, then I'll get those. But some people are diehard Apple fans, so that is why they have it in here. And as we scroll down, I will go down to the competition. So this is interesting. You may have long tail keywords, or the Wirecutter probably has long tail searches that get to this page because it's so authoritative, where people are looking for some of the competition, and basically they just list other items that they tested. So you can see this image here. They actually had 8 that they picked, and they had 2 that they narrowed it down to, which is great, right? Or sorry, there's actually 9 here. There's this white one here that I didn't notice. But the thing is, if you do go to Amazon or some other marketplace and you see tons of items there, it's really hard to choose. So that's why people would go to the Wirecutter, because they want to narrow it down, and they want an unbiased opinion on like what is the best wireless router. So they list out several. They obviously don't go into like deep detail, but they'll list out the most critical information that you need to know for each one. And it looks like they just have like 2 sentences for each, something like that. Okay. And an interesting thing, previous router testing. So they actually go back to old models that they thought were good. And of course, in the the tech world, new products are coming out all the time. So as we go through, they do give you another call to action at the very end. Where the Archer C7 is the best one. You know, click on it here. Again, you can get to it in 3 different ways. The other big thing before we move on to the next review, we're going to do 2 more where we're going to take a look, and they do list the sources, and it's like, you know, a real book. There's footnotes in here, and there's 20 listed, and you know, that is a really high quality sign that they did a very good job researching it. And not only that, they tell you where you can go find more information. So this is, you know, really key, and I put, you know, sources out from my pages as well. So let's move on to another review here. The best action camera. So a lot of it's going to be similar, so I'm not going to spend as much time here, but we'll go through it. So first off, high quality image. You can see they're actually testing these cameras out in the field. They are, you know, wet. Some have a case on. Actually, hopefully all of them have a case on since it's wet there. And they have the sharing buttons at the top. They have the larger font here. And they have in the first paragraph a call to action to actually get to the GoPro Hero 5 Black. They say it's the best action camera for most people, and they let you get over there quick. You will remember in the previous wireless router example, the call to action was a little bit earlier in the paragraph, and that's probably, you know, in general good to have the call to action as soon as possible, but this is fine too. I mean, most people are going to read the first paragraph. They have the updated section here, so they have a full list of all their updates here, which is awesome. Next, they have a call out section for the first #1 choice, the Hero 5 Black, and again, you can get there via a button, the text, or clicking on the image. The first paragraph where they mention the item, you can click on the name of the item to get there. One other thing to note, again, the links that they want you to follow, they underline, at least that's my take, and there's other links that they actually don't even really care, like this is not underlined here. I think there's another one. These are affiliate links also. I'm not sure if you can see that displayed, but these are affiliate links also, but they are not underlined. So they're kind of trying to encourage you to click these links. Next, they have the Sony FDR X3000 here. So a runner-up and then a budget pick. So slightly different than the other one where they had 2 main picks. They had a feature-rich and then a, you know, slightly budget-minded one. This has 3, so it's sort of best in class for most people. They have a best in class for 4K footage and the best video quality, and then they have the budget selection here. So they divide it up a little bit differently, but essentially they have 3 mini reviews, why they picked them, and who each one is good for. Next, they have an opt-in box here, which, you know, blends in with the page, but it does, you know, make you stop before you hit the table of contents. The table of contents and the sections that they covered are essentially the same as last time. So it's why should you trust us, how they tested their picks, flaws but not deal breakers, and so on. They also have, you know, sections for each of the 3. So their pick, the runner-up, and the budget pick. And, you know, right off the bat, you can see the runner-up, that Sony model. They say better video quality but harder to use. So if you're, you know, into video and the number one important thing is around video quality, but it's a little harder to use, like maybe you pick that one. So they kind of spell it out, and that's a nice way to let you know why you may want to choose that one. So as we go through here, I will also point out that Ben, I don't know how to say his last name, so Ben K is a freelance tech writer and editor, and he's been around the block. He's written for USA Today and so on. And he further qualifies himself by talking about how much he's used the cameras and his I guess experience testing these specific cameras. And he knows what he's talking about. He's a good writer because he's written for USA Today and other websites. So as we scroll down, again, you can see they've actually tested several cameras. They tell you which ones they are, and then you'll be able to see, the competition listed in one of the sections below. They give you an opportunity almost every time they mention the camera, or the item rather, whatever item it is, they give you a chance to click the affiliate link here. They have a cool GIF here, which shows you how much they tested it. They threw the cameras underwater in a stream and then let water run over them. They actually tested them really well. As we're scrolling down, there's a lot of text. They go into the details. Again, just beautiful images. You would expect it, considering the fact people are looking at cameras here. So they're trying to get good images. They show you, demoing the camera, and nice little section here with thumbnails so you can see how well this GoPro works. And as we're scrolling down, they get into the details. They have a GoPro mobile app, so I think it connects to your phone, and then you're able to control the GoPro from your phone, which is cool. So they test, not just the basic features, but they test the accessories that people are going to use, including apps that may go on your phone. They have some sample footage here, which is great. That probably also means they have a YouTube account, and I'm certain that the YouTube account probably has a link back to this page. Probably gets a decent number of views. Let's see, as we're going on, they further, test the camera by, putting it on the top of a car. You can see they're testing head to head. This is pretty cool. Oh, and you know what? Maybe they didn't actually test it, but they had permission to use the image on one way or another. He says, sadly, that's not me driving. So as we move on, we can see, more high quality images, more samples. This is, you can't always do these sample videos, but it really works for, action cameras. It makes sense. It makes sense that you want to see the footage. Okay. Right, it's a lot more of the same here, which is good. I mean, sample videos, more images of the cameras when they actually tested them. They got them wet. So this is all good stuff here. Then we see the competition that they list out here, care and maintenance, a much smaller section than our Wi-Fi example. And they have the final call to action. So it's always important to have a final call to action. Everything on, the Wirecutter looks like it fits here. So the only thing that is sort of out of place is the AdSense banner at the top of the pages, and I guess it's in some of the sidebars as well. But they have a nice box here. It's simple with white space, so there's a lot of text. So text, and then you see an open space, similar to their email opt-in section. Same deal as before. 3 ways to get to it: to get to the item through an affiliate link, and that's through the image, through the link of the title here, and then the button. And it would be really interesting to see their data if most people click the button or the text or where they go. As normal, they have a sources section. So again, indication of very high quality and the fact that they did plenty of research. So let's look at one more spot here. And I picked this one because my SD cards are like really old. So I remember back in the day when I got them, it must have been 2011 or so when I got my DSLR. And they're 16 gigs, and they're big enough. They do a lot, but I'm shooting more video these days, and they are a little bit slower than what you can get. And it would probably be a good idea if I got some newer memory cards. So I thought I'd take a look at this one. So a lot of this stuff we've already talked about, so I won't go too deep into this review. And you'll see they use a template for all the reviews, so I hope you notice that. High quality image at the top. You have the larger font here and a call to action in the first sentence. So that's awesome. That's an affiliate link, and that's what you want to do. There are a great number of people that are actually in a hurry, so they'll click here before even reading much. They know you've done all the research. They know there's tens of thousands of words on the page, so or at least like several thousand words. So next they have the little update section here when they last updated it, and they have the number one pick here, the Samsung 64 Pro Plus for $40. And the funny thing is, this is a lot cheaper, or at least the same price as I got my memory card that's 1/4 of the size several years ago. So you'll notice here, right, they have BuyDig, right? So they, for whatever reason, they're listing this item on BuyDig. So, they picked it because it's one of the fastest cards. This is an Amazon link here for the 64 gig SanDisk Extreme Pro for $46. It sounds like it's a little more expensive, but it's only a little bit faster, so it's not worth the extra price is what they're getting at here. So the cool thing is they're recommending a slightly cheaper product, and that sort of builds a little credibility, right? There's a reason why they picked it, and they tell you why. Next, and this may be the one that I will actually buy, is the 64 gig Transcend. It's a little slower, but it costs half as much and is fast enough to shoot 4K video. I'm not even shooting 4K video. I mean, I just have a 6-year-old Canon DSLR, so this will definitely be good enough for me, and I can buy a couple of them for like $30, which is awesome. So I'm probably going to buy that after we finish up this video. So as we go through here, there are a couple things to note. So they do have all the same sections pretty much, but they do talk about long-term test notes, which is interesting because the thing is, like, some items people are going to keep for a long time, or they may have been able to test it on a long-term basis. So this is a great way for them to, again, add more credibility, where a lot of times people will review an item and they don't even, number one, they don't even use it, but number two, they can't tell you anything about the durability with a first-hand account. The Wirecutter can't. So the other thing that we want to look at is some of the other technical things they look at, like how fast does the SD card need to be, notes on the speed classes, and so on. As normal, they do talk about the author of the article and the credibility of that person. You can see all the different cards that they tested. And I'm going to go a little faster. Like I said, I don't want to harp on this stuff too long since we've gone through these a few times. But just for me, I am curious about how fast an SD card needs to be. So more or less, they just go into tech details here. So they tell you why you need certain things. And you'll have to think about this for whatever items you're reviewing. So you may need to go into these details. Maybe you don't. The more complex an item is, or the more questions that people might have, the more of an opportunity that you have to go into these details. So they talk about the different speed classes. There's 2, 4, 6, and 10. And that talks about the basically the write speed to the card. And it sounds like, nowadays speeds can go way faster than class 10. And it's unclear, without me reading this out loud to you, which I'm sure would be super not interesting. The thing is, there are a lot more details around it, hence the long section here. Okay. And as we go through here, you'll see they list out the other cards that they looked at and the, essentially the competition. So the other cards that they tested, and as normal, they have the final call to action for the number one pick. It's interesting they only have 2 sources here, but, maybe it's just because, there's not as much stuff to reference and they were more like in the weeds talking about the details of the cards. So right now, that concludes the teardown for this site. If you want to check out a bunch of keywords from the Wirecutter and a bunch of other Amazon affiliate sites, you can go over to my site, Niche Site Project, and actually there's a link below the video, but it's Niche Site Project, and you sign up for the email list and you can get tons of keywords, like over 15,000, but you also get a lot of really helpful templates for your niche sites and that sort of thing. So would love to see you over at Niche Site Project. Thanks for checking out the video, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing to the Niche Site Project YouTube channel. You should be able to click on the link and get on board. Thanks.